My question has evolved and changed since I got here. It probably happens a lot.
Co-creating its best.
Yeah.
There is nothing we enjoy more than to feel you when you got here and feel the new being born within you. And then getting you in the chair and having you present something to us and you hearing what we say, which alters what you say next. Co-creating at its best.
It's fantastic. This whole day has been absolutely amazing. I think you came here just for me. Every
True.
word has been for me. Thank you. I was originally it was a completely different question, and then it changed to how I could slow my stream down, and then you said, "Oh no, you don't want to do that."
Well, actually, we said you can't do that.
You can't even if I
Give
wanted
it up.
to. So I guess
people will say, "Abraham, I've lived this life, it's been hard, and when I die, I'm not coming back, so tell everyone who needs to know that." And we say, "Okay, we'll tell them, but no one will listen."
No, I definitely want to come back. I don't want to leave. It's a fantastic, fantastic life, and it's been even more so since I've been introduced to Abraham and all of their friends. Recently, I guess I realized the stream is going so fast that I feel like I'm missing things. Like I want to stop and see the birds and the eagles, and it's going so fast that I'm afraid I'm missing some points that are happening. I've been attracting...
Now, let's rework that analogy, because feel the difference between being an airplane, going fast, high in the sky, looking down, it's all calm. Put the same airplane on the ground, going at the same speed, not so calm.
Right.
And the difference is resistance. But from that broader view, it's a different experience. And so you might say, well, up there, high in the sky, moving fast, I might be missing all of those intimate details. Or you might be saying, I'm having a broader experience. When you are eating a meal in a fabulous restaurant, we don't see you fussing over not being able to eat over there and that one and over there and that one and over there and that one at the same time. Mm. In other words, what you're doing now, if it is satisfying, is satisfying. And so the feeling of missing something is never coming from a place of alignment. The feeling that I'm missing something is always because you were in some resistance. And what you're missing is alignment. Every time.
Well, yeah, I agree. And the intensity of what has been going on recently has kind of been, there's been some fantastic things that have come from it, but it's...
Well, just keep remembering that the more you live and the faster the stream goes, then the more resistance, even resistance that's been in your life for a long time, is going to show itself to you. So it isn't that there's becoming more things for you to fuss and worry about. It's the things that you have been fussing and worrying about that you haven't cleaned up are now bigger obstacles in a faster moving stream. In other words, picture a big boulder out there in the middle of a very slow moving stream, and the water just gently sort of moves around it. Now picture a big boulder in a very fast moving stream. There's geysers shooting up all over the place as the rock is being approached by the faster moving water. So when you realize that the stream is flowing as the stream is flowing, and you release the resistance and actually go with the flow, then you will not be having a conversation such as, I'm afraid that I'm missing out on things. Give us some details.
Well, over the last, I guess, month and a half, through my life, I've had the opportunity to be with people as they transition, close friends and, family. And I was very glad to be there. It was very intense. And then the last month and a half, that it's coming up again, quantity-wise, and 2 people that were very close to me, and ended up, one of them in my home. I was doing the caregiving as he made his transition, and taking care of all of his affairs, and people that came to be with him in his last days, and then doing a funeral for another friend who passed at the same time, and she asked that I take care of her affairs as well after she had passed and do the funeral and arrangements.
Several people in this room are thinking about approaching you after the meeting.
I don't think so.
Did you make a business card?
No, I don't.
You sort of did. It's a vibrational card that you're putting out.
Yes,
in other words,
and I want to close that card.
Then get your attention off of it. In other words, as you have experiences, whether you're enjoying them or not, your attention to them brings more of those kinds of experiences. And so you literally are sending advertisements out into the ethers, and law of attraction is hooking you up with people who feel that they would benefit by your services, so to speak.
And so how do I stop that?
You stop it by finding some other aspect of your life and making it a more dominant vibrational aspect, and then the universe will bring people to you who rendezvous with that. It's always the same way. Sometimes by your attention to something, you have an interest in it, and you've heard us say that you give your attention to something for as little as 17 seconds, and another thought like it will join it, and then another thought like it will join it. And there certainly isn't anything wrong. We know that you see yourself as of value. You wanted to be of service to people. You are intrigued with what is non-physical. You're wanting people to feel better about making that transition. We're not for a moment suggesting that somebody shouldn't do that, or even that you shouldn't do that. But when you say, okay, I've done it, and it served its purpose for me, and now I'm no longer enjoying it, and it seems to be that I can't quite get out of it, we say, well, you just have to take your attention off of it. Everyone learns that by virtue, when you begin to interact with others, and all of you are doing that there is this tendency to have an experience. Jerry and Esther have said for a very long time, Jerry told it to Esther almost the day she met him, that you want to start things the way you want them to end up, because he had learned from his own life experience that if he begins doing something, that the more he does it, the more there is of it for him to do. And so if it's something that you really like, then do it, but if it's something that you really don't like, then don't do it, because law of attraction, although he could not put that label to it, was apparent in everything in his experience. And so it's the same sort of thing with this. The more you do it and the more you think about it, the more you offer a vibration, and the more the universe finds other people for you to dovetail with. And so you can't say, I don't want to do that anymore, because that is offering a vibration of it still. When you say, I'm not going to think about that, you're thinking about that you weren't going to think about, and it's still active. So you have to deactivate a thought. The only problem is you can't deactivate a thought, because when you're trying to deactivate the thought, you're activating the thought. So you can't deactivate a thought, you just activate another thought. And it's logical that the most activated thought would be around the action that you've been living. But now this is where imagination comes in. This is where exploring what must be in vibrational escrow comes in. This is where selective sifting comes in. This is where guiding myself based upon the way I feel comes in.
But I am very curious in, non-physical. I think, is that what is attracting me to the people to me, or me to them? Is that my curiosity about what that's all about? And
we believe that that's where it started. We believe that your curiosity about that is what began the attraction of it. And then you got swept up in the details of that. And the more attention you gave to the details of that, then the more you begin attracting the details of that. In other words, we're non-physical, but we're not dead. And we don't need a funeral, and you don't need to tend to our affairs.
Thank you.
So if your curiosity is about what's non-physical, get your eye on that, and in doing so, it would be off the other, you see.
Okay.
We think that it came to you because you have for a long time been, like so many people in this room, beating the drum of service. You're wanting to be of value. Esther's dream was about that. She looked out and saw that needy bear and wanted to help that bear. She wanted to help that bear. That bear was in need. And the bear found her in her dream because she likes to help people, and the bear needed help. And so law of attraction brought them together, you see. And as she focused upon the bear, then her perspective of the bear began to evolve a little bit. In other words, your perspective is whatever you make it. You get to set the tone of your vibration. So there's a big difference between observing and offering a vibration or intending and offering a vibration. You're doing it all now, whether you're thinking about something from the past, or whether you're observing something in the present, or whether you're imagining something in the future. You're doing it all right now, and it all becomes the vibrational reason for your point of attraction. Most people offer the majority of their vibration in response to what they're observing, because most people are not very good at remembering, especially selectively sifting the good parts. And most people are not very good at imagining either. So most people are observers. That's why what's going on television, what's going on in the news is a powerful impact on what's going on in most people's vibration. And what's happening in the neighborhood, what's happening on the street, what's happening in your family, what's happening around the dinner table. In other words, what you're observing is usually what's setting the tone for your vibration. And what we want you to begin doing, is sort of the subject of the conversation that we just had, what we want you to begin doing is let the tone of your vibration be set by your quest for feeling good. If you can guide your thoughts by your decision about how you want to feel, then you begin focusing upon the positive essence of things, and you use your imagination more. And as you use your imagination more, then you can guide your life into new places. When we talk about deliberate creation, a lot of people like the idea of affirmations. They like the idea of going to creative workshops. They like the idea of gathering bits and pieces of things that are important to them and putting them in scrapbooks or on picture boards or in creation boxes. And we've talked about all of those kinds of things. But you are not creating, per se, through those activities. You're creating through the trial and error of life experience. You're creating through the sifting day in and day out of contrast and the launching of your preferences at all levels of your being. And so your desires are formed literally by the living of life. And every process that we offer is not to make something happen. We don't offer processes because the processes cause you to create a better life. We offer processes because the processes help you to relax and allow the better life that you've already created. What we really want to get across to you in this gathering is that your vibrational escrow exists, and it's full of everything that you've always wanted, and you've contributed to it so incrementally that it is amassed into this magnificent thing that you couldn't, even if you sat for a month and tried to write nonstop, even begin to define the perfection of it. In other words, what you have amassed as a result of who you were before you got here and what you've been living every day since is an incredible reality. And so now as you reach for better and better feeling thoughts, you just allow the universe to give you, in very real terms, the results of the reality that you've already created. Can you hear that? So we would never say that your interaction with people relative to their funerals or relative to their releasing of their physical perspective and their reemerging into non-physical, that's not separate and apart from what's in your vibrational escrow. It's all part of it. You're wanting to be of value. You're wanting to be an uplifter. You're wanting to be of service. You're wanting to understand non-physical. But the big thing that we feel, and we started to say this earlier about people who are predominantly gathered in a room such as this, is that when you are focused toward the idea of being of service to others, often you get out of whack vibrationally. And what we would like you to help sort of square away is that when your dominant intent is to be in alignment, then you cannot help but be of service. If your dominant intent is to close your gap, which means you work every day to find the best feeling thought you can find, what begins to happen is, as you feel better and better and better and better and better, so that you are more and more in alignment, now those who are ready for that kind of service begin gravitating to you. It's a very uncomfortable thing when people who are far from their alignment are the subject of your attention, and then you go to try to assist them and it takes you far from where you are. And that's sort of what we can feel happening. A lot of these people that you are just talking about, as they're making their transition, that transition is their sort of last-ditch effort of releasing resistance. And in a sort of quantum leap form, they will do it. But in the meantime, they've been a catalyst to your resistance too. And that's why you felt compelled to come and have this conversation. So is Abraham saying you shouldn't help others? No, not at all. We're saying tend to your own vibration and then help others. If you're going to work in a trauma center, tend to your vibration and then from that inspiration be the brilliant being that you are. If you're going to assist someone making their transition, tend to your vibration and from your place of really knowing, be the brilliant being that you are. But tend to your vibration first and then do anything else you have physical time to do. But don't do anything without tending to your connection first.